One of the programs that we take care of and we help and everybody in this room can benefit from is the export facilities. The Texas Department of Agriculture, we operate export facilities along the Texas-Mexico border and one here in Houston at the Bush Intercontinental Airport. We have an export facility in Brownsville, Laredo, and El Paso. We're currently creating one and we're building it, and we're hoping in the next 4 or 5 months it'll be open and fully operational in Del Rio. You can go to our webpage, Texas Department of Agriculture, and I got plenty of business cards, and there's also a guide there to help you export or if you have any questions. A lot of people tell me the same thing. I don't have that many cattle, and I'm kind of concerned about exporting to Mexico. Mexico is a very important partner for us, and we ship a lot of livestock to Mexico. And selling to Mexico is not any different than selling to someone down the road or another state. And that's what we're here for. Our export facilities, I got guys at all my facilities, they know. We work closely with the brokers, we work closely with Sargapa, Mexican USDA, and we have great partners over there in Mexico that we work with. We host buyers from all over the world coming in, and we take them to our Go Texan partners, people that partner up with us in the Department of Agriculture. I hear the same thing a lot. I don't have very many cattle. I only have 30 head. I got 20 head, I got 50 head. No one's going to want to come to me. That's where you're wrong. And let me tell you why you're wrong. Because a lot of the people that come up, when we go to all these different ranches, we'll go to one, they might like quite a few of them, they might pick 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 for another, 2 or 3 for another. So don't think just because you don't have 100 head that you can't compete and you cannot export. If you have any questions about it, about the Go Texan program and how you can become a member, $100 a year, it's not a lot, we'll be more than glad to help you out, because we do bring in a lot of people and we take them to different ranches down in South Texas. That's the export pens. Also with the international program, we get money from MAP money from the federal government. We with USLGE, where we host people and we go on inbound and outbound trade missions. Currently, we're doing a lot of stuff in Central America, South America, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Mexico. We're starting to do some work in Australia and the Vietnam area. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. We can talk about it. Another program that we deal with, and I started talking about this even when I'm talking to cattle people, we also have another program called SUSTA, which is a Southern United States Trade Association. The reason I kind of bring that up, it's kind of about food products, because a lot of cattle producers, they have their wives or they have family members that make jellies, barbecue sauces, distilled spirits, beer, wine, whatever. That's other products that falls under my jurisdiction that we help promote around the world. So if you know anybody that produces stuff here in Texas, anywhere from boots, leather goods, any kind of agricultural product, give me a call. We help small businesses export around the world. Now, that's kind of in a nutshell of what we do. If anybody has any questions, I will be here. And I don't want to talk too much about me and what we can do, but the Texas Department of Agriculture, we work here for you. We're a tool. We're just like any other tool. You pick us up and you use us, you'll benefit. You leave us in the drawer, we're not going to be much help to you. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call us. I got staff members that are bilingual. We can help. We're all along the border and scattered out throughout Texas. And even if you're in another state, I'm sorry, but we can still help you. Get to Texas as soon as you can. With that being said, I'd like to bring up Gary and the other international guest team so they can introduce our panel, and then we can get started with the important stuff, our international guests.
On behalf of the Beefmaster Breeders United, we're honored to have numerous international guests with us today. And I'm in charge of Australia and South Africa. And Connie has been with us. Connie van Vuuren from South Africa has been with us for the last week. He's been every day here at the convention, and we're going to attend the sale this evening. And with that being said, Connie is a Beefmaster breeder in South Africa, and he's also the past president of the Beefmaster Association in South Africa. So with that being said, Connie, if you would, I'll turn it over to John, and welcome. We're glad to have you and appreciate you being part of our international group.
Thank you.
I'm Billy Wepner and Wholehearted Ray Walther here. We represent the Mexico Beefmaster Breeders Association, and we have, it's very easy. We got 3 Rodriguezes here from Mexico today, so I can't mess that up very easily. But Roberto is one of the officers of the Mexico Beefmasters Association. We are very pleased to see them show up yesterday afternoon. So Roberto, welcome.
Thank you, sir. I'm Lorenzo Lassiter, and I am honored to chair the Latin American portion of the International Committee's USLGE budget, and I'm proud to welcome my friend Adriana Botero. She is the executive for the Colombia International Association, which I think she told me yesterday is up to 43 members, so they've had a lot of growth. That's the largest of our Latin American associations in terms of members, and so when a new association starts, they literally start with 1 and then 2, but they're all active breeders, and so they've enjoyed a lot of growth under her leadership, and we're super glad to have you here.
Okay, it's all yours.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, just get a little closer.
Thank you, John. It's a great privilege for me to be here and represent Beefmaster South Africa. We've been in the business for almost 30 years in South Africa, 155 odd breeders, about 30,000 registered cows in our national herd. We, as the South African Beefmaster Association, have used a lot of US genetics, starting back in the early 80s and even importing some of them or illegally smuggling some Beefmaster genetics into South Africa from the early or late 70s. The Beefmaster breed in South Africa grew to the 2nd largest registered breed in the country. We're really privileged to be part of the Beefmaster Association and the IBF that was started last year in February at the Houston Livestock Show. Beefmasters in South Africa is really growing. We're one of the only, or we are the only breed in the country that constantly grows at a 10% a year, producing the best calf we can, or that is available to the feedlots. We don't have the same grading system as you guys in the US have, so we sell our calves per pound, and that is all that counts where we are from. So the more pounds we can yield off a cow, the better we are. And at this stage, and it's been so for the last 8 or 10 years, we've got the best cow-calf ratio in the country. And that gives us a lot of leverage and also exposes us a lot. Our breed community is very active. We sell about 1,500 registered bulls every year to commercial breeders and stud breeders. So we've got a huge market share, and we're gaining on it. we still use a lot of US imported genetics, and they make a big impact on what we have. One of the big things in South Africa is the wonderful hybrid vigor that you get out of a Beefmaster bull onto any cow, and if you've got Beefmaster cows and you use Beefmaster bulls on them, it only gets better and better. The maternal side of the Beefmasters is absolutely wonderful, and that's one of our biggest selling points, is that you don't need to go into another crossbreeding program. If you've got a Beefmaster bull, you've got everything that you need. You don't need to complicate your breeding system. You can only buy the right Beefmaster bull and just keep on breeding them. You don't need to ever do a terminal cross. If you've got a Beefmaster, you can keep all the heifers, and you can still wean the best cows that you've got. So that's what we do in South Africa in a nutshell. As I said, it's a great privilege for me to be here.
Hello.
Lo puedes sacar si quieres, lo puedes sacar.
Ay. First of all, I want to thank all of you for having us here. And I'm sorry for my English. Since I moved to Colombia, I have lost it a lot, so I'm sorry for my mistakes. The Beefmaster Association in Colombia was founded in 2011. We have been working for 6 years now. Last year we had an important, we grew a lot, 35%. We used to be 30 members and now we are 47, so I think we are doing things right. In Colombia, because of the tropical weather, the most of the cattle is Brahman, and we need Brahman or any Cebu to be there because the heat, the humidity, and there is a lot of humidity, and the European cattle, it doesn't adapt there, so that's the major point with the Beefmaster. We're working there, as Connie said, you can always breed with a Beefmaster bull and you don't have to worry because it has the adaptation, it gets really good there, and you can keep the heifers and put another Beefmaster bull so you can grow your cattle there. Right now we have 4,000 purebred and we have around 6,000 in the Advancer program. We do a lot of embryos and we also have AA to get the cattle. We use a lot of US genetics. We have been in the market trying to get the commercial cattlemen, so we do 3 shows per year. They are not as big as Houston shows here, but they are big, and what we are trying to do is to show the commercial cattlemen that Beefmaster really works in Colombia. That's our first point in every show, to show that the Beefmaster really adapts there and that you can always work with a purebred. You don't have to cross back to European and then cross back to a Cebu. So you always can do it with a Beefmaster bull. To finish, I want to thank all of you again for having us here. We will be here today, so if you have any question, please let us know. And I also want to thank Mr. Pendergrass for being here. We know it's a hard recuperation for you, but we are glad you're here with us. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for the invitation, Mr. Billy Wepner. The Mexican Beefmaster Association has been running for about 35 years right now. And we have around 400 members in our association, and every year is getting bigger, between 20 and 40 members, new members per year. So it's getting bigger, the Mexican Association. Most of the growth for an association is for members in the south part of Mexico. The Beefmaster in the past was mostly in the north part of Mexico, and now we're getting to the south part of Mexico. That's where we're getting bigger. Beefmaster is adapting to the south part of Mexico, is doing good, and commercial cattle is looking what Beefmaster can do in the south. So we're growing in the south part of Mexico with cattle and with members. At this time, the Beefmaster breed is the second breed of beef cattle in Mexico, just behind the Cebu cattle. The Brahman cattle is number one in Mexico. Right now, Beefmaster is become the number 2 breed in the country. We have members all over the Mexican country. In every state, we have at least one member. So we are in the whole country is Beefmaster breeders. Most of the genetics comes from the U.S. We've been buying cattle and semen and embryos from United States for many years. Right now we register our members register around 15 to 20,000 cattle per year. So the association is getting bigger. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to go ahead and does anybody have any questions? And then I have a few more things I'd like to go over. Do we have any questions out in the audience for any of our members on the panel or myself?
I'd like to ask you guys what you find to be the biggest challenge to growth as you try and reach the commercial sector in each of your countries, what the biggest obstacle to that is in each of your countries.
Go ahead and start with you, Connie.
Lorenzo, at this stage, the biggest obstacle we've got in South Africa, it was like in the US now, is the color issue. The Beefmasters haven't had a identity that you can say wherever you go and you drive. And in South Africa, we tended to go to a red and yellower kind of cow, and it really did good for us. But we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years that our buyers are trending to go back to the dun and painted face bulls, and we really can't say why. There's a lot of speculation about the cows with the mottled faces, that they perhaps will be a little bit more maternal and going through that. So that's one of our bigger challenges, is to surely get an identity towards the Beefmasters and say, this is a Beefmaster cow or a Beefmaster bull. It should identify itself, and not just in South Africa. We've got the Bonsmara breed that's the biggest in the country, and you also have some of them in the US, and they're our biggest threat, as if I can call them a threat. But they've got the identity, and as soon as you have the identity, you can go forward on that. And we really are trying to get an identity with a little bit more ear and a little bit more leather onto our cattle. That'll almost look the same, but be just heavier boned, more ears and more leather. So our biggest challenge is to have an identity that everybody can know that's how a Beefmaster should look like.
Thank you.
In Colombia, we have 29 millions of heads, and you can say that 50% of that is Brahman cattle. So in Colombia, all the beef producers, they always look for Brahman because the weather. It's always the weather, because any European breed, they won't adapt there. It's really hard because it's so humid and so hot in some areas. So that's the biggest problem, that they have introduced some Angus or Simmental or different breeds from Europe, and they won't adapt. So we're trying to get them used to Beefmaster and telling them that the Beefmaster includes a 50% Cebu, so that they can work with the breed. But they are really hard. They only see Brahman, so that's the biggest problem we have.
In Mexico, well, the situation is that we're growing, as I tell you before, we're trying to grow in the south. It's the same thing as Colombia. The south part of Mexico is a lot of humid. The weather is very wet, so cattle is hard to adapt. So Beefmaster is adapting slowly. He's getting there. So that's the challenge for us, to get more Beefmaster to the south.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question for the three. As an association in another country, what can BBU do to assist y'all and maybe help you with some of the progress that y'all would like to do? And if we can do that, what would y'all suggest that we would try to do to assist y'all? Whether it be advertising, promotion, or anything of that nature.
Gary, as an association, we really have a good communication towards the BBU. You and Bill visited us in just a year ago, and that really started a good thing going. We've got this genomic program going, and Bill just told me last night that he and our guy in South Africa is emailing each other every day or every second day and getting this genomic program going so that we can incorporate our genomics into your genomics and try to see what we can do that. We would surely like to have some more of you guys come and visit us and see what we've done with the best breed in the world in South Africa. And I think we really went leaps forward in producing some really good cattle that is adapted in the southern part of Africa, and that we are busy shipping all over the southern part of Africa, and that really adopts well. It adopts in every. That's one of the things of the Beefmaster. If you take it anywhere in the world, it will be good. So we are really in a good communication system with the BBU going, and as I said, those of you that wants to come and visit South Africa, it's as easy as sending an email, and we'll surely accommodate you and arrange everything that you need to do. So feel more than welcome to come and visit us whenever you have the time.
For the Colombian Association, I will say that the help that we can get from the BBU is to get the EPDs, because we have our software, we get the genetics, but we don't have the EPDs. So most of our cattle comes from Beefmaster genetics from the US. So I think it will work, because all of them are the father and the mother, they are from here. So I think it could work. And sometimes for the shows, we don't do a lot of shows down there, but when we do, we could use some help with the judges, because in Colombia, we don't have any judge there, and we would like to get the experience you've had here, so we can get them guided. I don't know, how do you say? Yeah.
Yes, I think the Mexican Beefmaster Association and the U.S. Beefmaster Association is been working good for many years. It's been a lot of communications between your international department with our association. I think what we need to do is to have a continuation with that work between the two associations. We can think about something about the EPDs, as our Colombia partner says, to share information between the two associations for the EPDs and that data. Right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to also add real quick that We had invited some people from Nicaragua and Costa Rica, and they were unable to attend. But some of the things that I'm seeing down there that I might be able to add my 2 cents, but a little bit more education on EPDs and genomics and talk, and maybe getting some more material translated into Spanish might be able to help, because when I'm down there and I'm talking to them about this, it'd be nice to be able to hand them some more information on that.
Yeah, actually, I would just make the same comment that you just made, John. Yeah, translation to Spanish is crucial. Another thing that all of you have said is to have a participation in the same genetic evaluation, so you're going to have the same base. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to explain to your members what the EPDs actually do, and there's going to be you can actually compare them. Whereas if you have animals in one genetic evaluation and in another completely differently, you can't compare them. They're going to have different bases. So I cannot stress that enough, as it's a huge, it's going to be a huge thing for all of the Beefmaster breeders across the world for the breed itself. So it's going to increase the power of the branding power of the breed. So it's, yeah, absolutely, hands down.
Yes, that is very important, because like you were saying, what we're doing in the United States versus what we're doing in Mexico, what we're doing in South Africa and Colombia and wherever, it all has to be based on the same science and the same deal, because if not, we're not talking apples and apples, we're talking apples and oranges, and then the whole system is just not going to be worth it. So yes, very, very good comment. Any other questions that we have?
Thank you, John. I'd like to ask the three of you what selection criterion you use when you're buying your genetics in this country. Was that an understandable question? Okay.
Well, John, as everybody knows, as the South African cattle or if we need to import some genetics from the US, we surely have to have the best EPDs that we can get. Our whole business is going about pounds. We sell pounds. We don't have the classification as you guys have. So IMF is not that important to us, but we need good muscling. We need calves that easy fleshing, and that's got the maternal side to it. So EPDs is one of the most cardinal things that we look at. We would never import a bull or any genetics that's not sound, proven to be good enough even for you guys to use. So we'll surely look at that, and then it needs to be on the eye also. You know, we need to have something that will look good in South Africa. If it's just only about, if it only's got the figures, it will not sell. We sell a lot of cattle also on the not pedigree at all, but a lot of them needs to have the eye appeal of a good Beefmaster.
I think it is the same in Colombia. We have some breeders that are looking for numbers. We don't use a lot of EPDs. As I said before, we don't have them, but we are trying to start with them to use your EPDs, to take that in mind when we are trying to get genetics. But we have some of them that they go for what they can see, for a good-looking bull. So I think that's it.
Yes, I think in the Mexican side, it's mostly the same. People, because we don't have a classification market for commercial cattle, so people will go more for the look of the bull that they buy, or the genetics that they buy.
But I want to say that in Colombia, we don't feed our cattle because it's so expensive over there. You cannot feed grain or anything. You just have to have them on the pasture eating grass. We only have like 70 animals to go to the shows, but that's it. We don't feed anything else. Everything else is out there in the pastures eating the grass. So it's really important for us that, as Connie said, they have to have muscle and they have to be productive.
And in some of the other countries that I work in and I get the pleasure of visiting with, it's a lot of phenotype looking. They're still looking at a lot of phenotype, but I'm seeing more and more every time I go down there, and every time I visit with Central, South American, Asian stuff, I'm starting to see more and more EPDs and talks about genomics and everything. So we are moving there quickly, not as quickly as I think we should, but we're getting there. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions for the panel or myself?
I want to say a last thing. In Colombia, the USDA is doing a project with the Angus and Brangus association there. They are supporting them to get some field days and different things to get genetics really cheap. And the Angus association there is really strong. I think with the BBU and you, John, if we can make any project to do the same with the Beefmaster there, I think we have a lot of potential there, and we gotta do something to grow the breed there. If you can help us, please.
Yes, that's not a problem. With that going on, we can still, any other questions, but there was a couple more things I would like to talk to you all about. As you can see, the protocols in different countries vary. I have access to all of them, so if you all have any questions, you're curious to know what the protocols, I'm an email or a phone call away. I can download the protocol and I can send it to you. Just because a country doesn't have a protocol doesn't mean we can't export to them. All it takes is a phone call. We can reach out to the government, and if they want the genetics, we can get it out there to them. My staff, and I have a great staff, we're the experts on finding the information. You all are the experts in the breed, and we work closely with FAS in all the countries. We work closely with the government and the cattlemen's associations in those countries. So someone calls you, starts asking questions, wanting genetics or information about your ranch, give us a call. We'll be more than glad to help. The Texas Department of Agriculture, we do not charge for our service. The only thing we request is that you join the Go Texan program. The Go Texan program costs $100 a year. We're here to help. And thanks to the Beefmaster Association, Bill, Colin, the staff, really, really appreciate you all. And I'll tell you one thing, the Beefmaster Association is the most aggressive association when it comes to reaching out to the Department of Agriculture. I offer my services to all breeds. We work, collect information. They want semen, they want embryos from whatever. The one that's the most aggressive and I do the most work with is the Beefmaster Association. My family's been farming and ranching in Texas since 1808. That was before Texas was even Texas. We raise Beefmasters. Don't tell anybody else. Don't tell the Brangas. Don't tell anybody else. We raise Beefmasters. And there's a reason why. It works for us. We're in South Texas. We're in Duval County. It works. So if there's anything we can do to help you all, that's what we're here for. Before I shut it down, is there any other questions? Any other questions? I'd like to close this session With your permission, Colin, I would like to say if there's any vets, not veterinarians, any military vets in the audience, raise your hand. I'd like to say thank you to all our vets for helping make our nation what it is today. Thank you. Now, Colin said he wanted me to do a song and dance, but I think we can cut that, right? Okay, we'll cut that then.
Working forward, trying to incorporate EPDs between the countries, and we want an open line of communication there. I think, as evidenced in our board meetings recently, I think our directors feel there's an importance there. There's an opportunity for us as a breed as a whole. So we definitely want to continue those conversations and take those forward. So thank you again. Greatly appreciate you guys coming over and appreciate all that you do for us as well. So we can't say thank you enough. Let's give them a round of applause again, please. And John, we definitely thank you for your help with everything. We know you work as a great facilitator for many of us out there. Again, if there's something that we can do or members can do, let us know. We're greatly appreciative. I think that's going to